Recording here. So, a couple of things that I want to go over. Yeah, number one, I just want to reiterate that this boss. I'm really glad that you guys are showing up to this, and let me know if you catch it. You're watching the recording on YouTube, because this boss is going to be like our biggest challenge for sure thus far. It is a major step up from Sprocket. It's one of those fights that while you're thinking about Bandit on heroic, and you're like, I mean, how hard could that be, right? It's fairly simple. It's just a circular room, and you just got some ads and coins, whatever, right? However, while it is kind of simple in that respect, it's tuned so tightly that the way that you do things and how efficiently you do it, and also, your level of precision and not making mistakes, it needs to be really high. What the fight ends up turning into is you just can't, mess anything up, right? Like DPS can't target the wrong ad, you can't mess up your cooldowns, you can't pop your cooldowns at the wrong time, you can't mess up your rotation, healers can't mess anything up there either, and then also you've got the things to dodge, right? So basically, and if anybody, the tuning is tight enough that if any one person in the raid messes up just a little thing and we lack focus, then it's going to be a wipe. So we do want to get over the stage of like learning the fight as quickly as possible, but once we do learn it, then it's going to be go time from there. Now, that being said, there are some things that we do need to set up as a team. You notice I'll have my game up. I'd prefer it if you guys hop on your game as well. This is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go over some of the weak auras and make sure that you guys have what you need enabled to begin with. So just go ahead and hop into game. I'll take this pretty slow while you guys hop in so that you can do this. But we just want to make sure that we have everything that we need set up. Good, I see Muck coming online. So first thing that we're going to want to do is just open up our weak aura, go to the liquid liberation of undermine, and then blow that up. And then you're going to want to go to one-armed bandit and blow that up.
Dude, I'm ahead of the curve. I did all this already.
Yep, I'll double check and make sure you got it right.
I will, of course.
Good.
I just thought people should mark their calendar when Caligan was ahead of the game on weak auras.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a deep dive into what's here. Most of this you guys will not need, right? I'm pretty sure that there's actually nothing here that's necessary in the bars section. You can actually just go to bars and load never for pretty much everybody, except for Cavill, because I have him assigned to something. But unless you really like their bars, you can just say load never on the bars. There's nothing here that you need. You can double check it though and see if there's something that you want and you want their colorful bar, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to say you're okay to disable bars pretty much entirely.
Hey Corey, you want to do some double duty and tell me what you want on my screen as we go?
No, I want to do that. No, I don't. I want to do that after with you. I don't want to do that with everybody.
Okay.
So, on the lists, this is not that important to you guys because you'll see this on the thing. You can go ahead for lists. You can go ahead and say load never on lists. You don't need to see that unless you want to. Say what?
Is that the one that you're going to be using? Like, is the order the same as the one you're going to be using?
Oh, no, this is the heroic.
Like, you're just going to call it out,
here.
so that's why we don't need it.
Yeah, and you get the highlight on their nameplates, right? So you don't need to see this. You'll see the green highlight on their nameplates. if you have the liquid WeakWare, that's enabled by default. So yeah, I would say you can disable this one, so you can load never on the lists. No need. Raid leader stuff, again, unless you really want to track who has what coin or whatever, and like which ad is at what percentage, you don't need to do that at all. This is a load never as well. I'll go ahead and disable that one. This one, big icons. This one is actually important. I would leave this one up. I think it is on by default. But this will tell you if you're fixated by one of the ads, which is super important, especially for melee, but also for ranged. And then the ranged with the withering flames, getting something more obvious on your screen to know like when you need to step out is important. So I would leave big icons enabled. Load needs to be nothing checked here so that it loads. And then you'll see this power icon up. When that power icon's up, it means it's loading. So I would leave that. Just make sure you have it in your liquid anchors, wherever the anchor is. I forget which one it is, but yeah, right down here. So in your anchors under big icons, just make sure you have this put in a spot where you would like it, and you can mess around with it there. But I would have it. Okay, I've already been over that enough. Icons, this one, there is nothing really here that's all that important. In my opinion, icons, you can hit load never on this one. Circles, I do like. I would leave circles open. Let me actually just go here and follow along with you guys. Load never on that. Circles, I would leave this one loaded. I think this is just the big hit. And I guess it only works for tanks though. Never mind. So you can actually, if you're not a tank, you could just load never, and this is because the big hit that goes on the ranged person, where they drop it, unfortunately is a private aura. So I guess it can't detect that and let you know like what the timer is on that drop. I would have said keep it enabled, but this one, unless you're a tank, you can load never on that one as well. Texts, this one, leave this one up. This one's important. You'll want this just in general. It highlights some of the most important timings that you need, and it also senses like when you have a debuff or that sort of thing. So leave this text one enabled, and I would just do pretty much all of them. Yeah, big hit ink is not that big of a deal, but yeah, I would leave all of these enabled, and they should be by default. So just make sure nothing is checked here on
you
the
said
text.
Disable icons.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where was that? Yep, icons, disable icons, disable circles, load never, and texts, leave that up. The assignment one. This one, if you are ranged, you will want to leave this one up. Ranged and healers will need this one still up, so go ahead and leave that one. And then on the nameplates here, so this one is the nameplate indicator. You're going to want to have this one enabled as well, so make sure it's loaded, nothing's checked. Assignments and nameplates loaded, nothing checked. If your never is blue, that means that something in your list is not enabled. So like this one will, and this might be something that you might want to enable, Swabbles. This is the thing that it can't go under 25%. So coin thrower might be interested in when that's up.
That's
so
in nameplate.
Yeah, in the nameplates. So you might want to turn that one on and see.
Dark Line Cuirass.
Yeah, and how that works. There is something here that might indicate, and I'm not sure how this works, that a coin is coming from behind. It might like, I don't know, show debuffs or something like that. I would try this one out and turn this one on, the Real Assistant Coin Inc. It couldn't hurt to like have a little bit of a notification that there's a coin coming from behind, especially since we can't get hit by it ever.
Gotcha.
So I would try this one for the whole team, and then just just have the normal things on. So nameplate glow is the one that I was talking to you guys about, so I don't need to call it out or whatever. You can see which ones we're killing right away to make sure that this one is on Real Assistant nameplate glow. Cool. These are some tank stuff. Mazu you can enable or not if you want to, but that one's there. And then miscellaneous is bait payline text to speech. That's worthwhile. Assistant auto marker. I would Ziddy, since you're probably going to be lead, make sure nobody else needs to do this, but make sure in your options you have this enabled so that it marks the real assistants here. And this is in the last section of One Armed Bandit. It's at the bottom, miscellaneous. If you open that up, that one. Yeah, the bait payline text to speech seems really good. Hot heat, also very good. Beam on you, very good. And yeah, I would leave these on. These are all on by default. And then Ziddy, just check this enable in the custom options on auto marker. And that way we'll always get the same markers on all of the ads for kicks, which will need to happen in a bit. We'll go over more about the strategy from there once we're done with setup. Cool. Does anybody need me to go over anything else there? That was like all the stuff, and you can mess around with your anchor to make sure that the things that we have displayed, like the texts, the big icons here, make sure that's where you want it to be, and assignments are there. That's good. So yeah, just make sure that everything, you have it where you want it in the anchors. This is important because, like I said, you know, the tuning is tight, and so you want your UI as clean as possible, so that you can just focus on what's happening on your screen as best as possible. Okay, nobody needs anything from there. We'll go ahead and move on. That is good. I'm just going to go ahead and log out the game now. Couple of things. There are some resources for you guys for this fight if you're in on it, in Discord on the LOU section, One Armed Bandit. I have this updated for Mythic. There are quite a bit of resources here. So you got the videos. I list the Mythic changes here, talk about them. Macro, ranged DPS players, you will want this macro. What this does is it signals to the healers when you are out of the group and ready for a dispel. There will be a glow on your bar, and they will dispel you when it turns from red to green. So when you press this, it signals to the healers, and it will assign your dispel to one healer. So from one healer, it will turn from red to green. And we will want to do that because we don't want to clutter too much of the comms. This will be just a way more efficient way to do that. So make sure you have this macro. You can just copy it from here and put it on your character. If you've done any Mythic Prog with us, you should have a keybind for that. Some players will put it into like their kick or like their offensive dispel button or something like that, like something that is easy to hit, and so they can just macro it in there and they don't have to add another keybind. But whatever works best for you. I wouldn't recommend doing it on the kick because we'll go over that in a bit. We actually do need to have some kicks in here, so you don't want to just waste your kick. Some bosses you don't need a kick, so it's all good. But in this case, and so this is for ranged DPS only. I will need to grab this from Discord and make a macro. Press it when you have left the group and you're ready for a dispel. Cool. So we have some FAQs here. These are some important things. There is a weak aura here for disabling some particle density on the Bandit fight. It is pretty recommended in terms of for FPS, and then also just so that you can have some more visual clarity for the tornadoes especially. It's a lot easier to see them, and the pay lines when they come in, if you have this particle density down. And so what this WeakAura does is when you engage combat with the boss, it toggles it down like right away. So that is something that is recommended by some of the guilds that have already progged it. So it's recommended to you guys as well. You can pick that up here. There's a link right here in the Discord. If that sounds good to you, definitely do it. And then we've got some stuff here. I don't want to go over this too much because we haven't talked about the fight too much yet, but as far as other setup things go, I would say range, since you guys need to swap really quickly, I would put a countdown on spin to win in Bigwigs. I should have stayed in game for this one, but for countdowns and stuff, spin to win is the one where the ads will spawn. So knowing when those come up and being prepped for that so that you can swap and get your dots up or whatever instantly. Ranged, I would do that. Melee, I would put a countdown on pay line. You have a lot more responsibility with baiting pay line correctly, and even in some cases you need to bait the pay line into the ad. And the way the pay line works is it picks one random ranged and one random melee for each of the two pay lines. So all the melee need to bait just in case it's you, right? So having a countdown for when that's coming out, I think is going to be the best countdown for melee. So I would set that up too. Cool. So let's get in, talk about the fight a little bit and what we're going to have set up here. I did some mythic planning so that you guys can see it here. As far as, so the big hit goes out, right, which is the tank buster, and the tank drops it. However, it does go, like I said, on a random range player. You do not get notified. The only thing that happens is maybe your screen zooms out just a little bit, like kinda when you get it, but there's no notification because it's a private aura. So when you get it on you, you just want to take it and run it out to a spot where we're not going. And once you kind of understand more of the overall, you'll understand where to take it. But the first ones will go back into the left, so you can just take them out to the wall. So you'll have to kind of, once you get it on you, you'll just want to wiggle and take them out here.
Core, one thing on that takeout mechanic, since we learned it with Yorpal before, you cannot stack those.
Yes, thank you. I was gonna... Perfect, Mazza. Yeah, so those of you that like to make hero plays, definitely take note of that. You cannot stack them, and it actually is detrimental if you try to just pop a cooldown and stack them, right? You're thinking you're going to save space. You're not doing that. So if you do that, what happens is you can drop them here, but what it does is it will kick it out in a random direction, and it won't overlap it at all. So it takes up like almost twice as much space if you do it. So it's detrimental if you try to stack them. You just want to put them, you can overlap, but you don't want to move into the stuff. Just stand next to the stuff and you'll be in good shape. And so basically the way that the fight is set up is that, so every time spin to win happens, any coil that is out, so from the shock combos, will activate automatically and do its effect. Most of the coils are terrible except for this one, which is Shock and Coin, which will be our first set of ads. So we'll place that out there. And then the last two sets that we do will be the coils, because we don't want the automatic triggers of extra mechanics when we're dealing with the other mechanics, right? Because it will just overlap too many mechanics. So we're putting this coil out here, and then Mazza will be using this coil to clear some of the space that we are filling up. And these aren't quite accurate. Actually, the size should be a bit bigger for these. So it's even more helpful than it looks, but it clears 2 of these puddles. I think it's the closer ones to him whenever this is clicked, and we can do it in a non-detrimental way if Mazza clicks basically right as spin to win is going to go out. And all this does is it just sucks us in a little bit towards the coil and does a little bit of damage, but it doesn't do very much. And so this is determined to be like one of the least impactful coils, and so we put it out first, and then we just basically go through some of the hardest sets early to get them out of the way and get some practice, and then as the fight goes on and it gets a little bit more chaotic, we have some of the easier ones towards the end, is the way that it's organized. So it's a set order. It'll be the same every time. Where they spawn is a little bit different, but yeah, we'll deal with the same mechanics every time. So melee, as far as baiting the pay line goes, in general, no matter where the boss is, right, and you guys are following around, when pay line is coming out, you will want to bait it towards the center of the room. So you want to play on the center side of the boss whenever pay lines are coming out. So you have a countdown. If you want to move over here and cleave, that's totally fine. But as pay line is coming out, you want to make sure to move over, move back in that case. There are a couple of ad sets where, like I said, you need to bait and hit the ad that you are closer to. And this is actually the second set of these real assistants that you'll need to do that on. And I believe it's the 5th. I need to double check on that, but it's like the 2nd and the 5th set. But in general, every pay line that comes out, you want to bait it towards the middle and towards ranged. First pay line will come out immediately this way, so you can just bait it that way. This real assistant won't be in the way and it won't get hit. So that's the general setup there. As far as moving into the fight, or planning, actually, I do want to plan some stuff as far as cooldowns are concerned. So some things for you guys to know. The whole fight is these assistants. Like if we can kill these quickly, we get to prog. If we suck at killing these ads, these 3 ads, it's over. So in your analysis of, you know, what spec do I want to play for this fight, or, you know, like how do I want to use my cooldowns, check out the people that are doing more damage to the real assistants, not the boss. The boss, in general, we are going, even 3 weeks ago when it was just the 3% buff, guilds were stopping damage on the boss so that we could actually do all of the sets and cleanly transition into P2. We're probably going to need to stop damage on the boss. So damage on the boss is not real. It does not matter. Cleaning up these real assistants is everything. And so that needs to be where your head is at from the get-go. As far as when they spawn, they are about 50 seconds apart. First set comes out at 17 seconds into the fight. This is where most of you will pop your CDs. We do not pop CDs on the pole or on the boss. You always pop CDs on ads. Never on the boss, always pop CDs on ads. So you need to be planning out your CDs in these 50-second intervals. If you pop like 2 minutes early here on this set of ads, you should have them back for the 3rd set. We are not lusting until 6 minutes 19 seconds into the fight, something about there. So you can actually pot the 2nd set of ads to help smooth that out. So cooldowns 1st set, pots on 2nd set. I would recommend starting there, but you can look through logs and see like what people of your class and how they maximize damage on ads. But I would start with just CDs here and then pot on this set, this 2nd set, and it will be back up for lust at the end of the fight still, as long as you pot early on in this set of ads. So that's something to think about as far as planning those CDs on the actual damage that matters, which is just these real assistants. Cannot stress that enough. It's so important that we DPS those boys down. Okay, so that's basically all the setup. I think I covered everything that I wanted to in terms of what I want you guys to know. As far as like other assignments, I guess, I'm gonna have Spoomy and Vex. So like, let's say we're killing this ad over here on the left, right? We have a lot of cleave that's off the boss with our comp. We have a few fire mages and just a bunch of melee bangers. So there's a lot of cleave onto this ad tanks. When it reaches, like I was trying to talk to you guys about, and we were doing pretty good actually on heroic, once this thing gets low and it seems like it's going to die to dots and everything, you can leave really quickly and get over to the next ad that we need to kill so that you can direct that cleave. So this will be you, Mazza, I believe, that will be moving the boss from ad to ad early on. So you just want to sprint over to the next ad, and it's definitely difficult if we need to kill the extremes. You want to get over here as fast as possible. This one doesn't matter. You don't need to like pass by it or anything like that. Go directly over here if that's the case. But we'll need to start to figure out our timings so that we can get these ads down as quickly as possible. So Spoomy and Vex, you guys are assigned to stay. When we leave this thing at like 10%, you're going to stay and kill it. And then pick up the coin, either one of you, and come and dunk it in the boss immediately. So you're going to stay on the far one, come dunk it. It'll be on the middle sometimes. So just stay, pick it up, and then dunk immediately. Second dunker, like we saw tonight, practicing, will be Cav. And so he'll stay and pick it up as soon as the ad is dying. He'll stand on it, pick it up, and dunk when it needs to be dunked. The timing on this is really tight. It needs to happen basically within the last second. So somewhere between 1 second and a half second is like the window. If he dunks it too early, it starts to set off different spell queuing, and so the fight gets different from there, unfortunately. And if he dunks it too late, like at the half second mark, it doesn't register fast enough and we wipe. Fraud detected. So I just wanted to assign a player to do that, but it's good that everybody knows, just in case it's a pull where like Cav is dead or something, then, you know, we can pick it up. But in general, this will be Melee's job because Melee will be standing next to the ads anyway. Ranged is not going to run in and dunk ever at any point.
But we can dunk ours right away.
You can dunk yours right away. Yep, instantly.
And it's just the first one, right? That would usually bring the boss to. Okay.
Yep, and we'll always bring the boss to the outsides first. So it'll either be the far left one that we're on or the far right one that we're on. Either way, you'll pick it up, and then the boss will leave before the ad is dead, ideally. Hopefully if tanks are doing their movement right. And so you'll stay, just make sure it dies, and pick up the coin and come dunk it. Yep.
Okay.
That is the goal. Cool. I'm glad you guys were here for that.
There's some timings where, kind of like I talked to you in DMs, Core, where the coins are being spit out close to when the ad dies. Are the tanks going to move and ignore that, or are we planting for coins and then moving?
Yeah, good question. In my experience, just watching VODs and everything, the whole fight, right, is killing these things. And most of the damage goes way up when the boss moves. So it'll be just important that they move. I think they'll ignore the pay line timings and they'll go, and we'll deal with whatever pay lines come out. You're still responsible for baiting, but the tanks aren't going to wait to move until after pay lines come out. And that does spark another thing as well in my memory. As far as pay lines go, they are good to get, but they're not required in order to kill or prog the fight. So don't like waste a bunch of time or effort trying to get them. Just definitely pick them up when you can. But if you can't, don't fret about it. In general, even during the DPS race in the last phase, because it's just not worth it, we actually send all the coins into the wall and just juice them. Like we don't use them because it's just not worth the risk. So since the only DPS check is on these real assistants, little ads, you know, definitely get the coins to use against those for sure. Healers to help you guys out. That'll be really important for you guys as well to pick those up and be comfortable picking them up. So you may want to, as healers, actually put a countdown on the pay line just so that you know that you're going to be watching and positioning. That might be a good one for healers to do, or you could do the exhaust, because basically that's when all of your big healing is going to need to happen. Exhaust is probably better than payline. I think payline you can just pick up, but if you want to put a countdown in Bigwigs for the exhaust, that'll be good. So that's the general idea of the fight. I've been yapping for, gosh, it's already 30 minutes. And so those are really important things, though, that we would need to go over anyway. So I'm glad you guys were here for that. I do want to go over the fight in general, but I think what I'll do is save it for next week. I'm trying to keep these to like a half an hour chunk or less if I can, and it's already been over a half hour, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Unless you guys have any questions and we can have good discussion about it, just the things that I've gone over so far, or anything that you're wondering in your own prep. Always feel free to hit me up at any time. If you don't have any questions now, it's all good. I love talking about upcoming boss fights and stuff. My door is always open for that. Or use next boss discussion.
You have a door?
I do. It's definitely closed for
It's a
some people,
metaphorical
but
door.
it's open for you guys.
Thanks, Dr. Core. Thanks for the office hours.
Absolutely. Keep studying. You guys can pass this class. Yeah, this boss will definitely kick us in the butt. We'll need to show up with our best shoes on to be able to get it. It takes a lot of focus, a lot of good play, and knowing our class, and knowing what to play and what to hit and when, and all of that. Very important. It's way different from any 6th boss that we've done. What it was like Zaskarn, even Kaiveza was this is harder than Kaiveza by a good deal. So it requires a lot more of the raid and everybody to be on their game. So I can't wait to see what we do. I'm sure we'll be on it some this weekend. That setup will be really valuable for everybody. So if you guys don't have any questions, thank you so much for your time and attention. That'll do it. For PTRU.
And Burr was passing notes during the PTRU.